In this video, we are going to be doing a chevron hat using the 52 peg double knit rotating loom from KB Looms. The yarn is Yarnspiration's Care-On Cinnamon Swirl Cakes. This collar is so fun. I think it's going to be really cute. The colorway is Tropical Breeze. Good name for it. You'll need a scrap piece of yarn. You want a contrasting collar. You just use this to mark out our very first row. That's it. To mark the loom, you'll be marking the inside and outside loom the exact same. So you want peg 52 and peg 1 marked, and then you want 5 empty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 marked. 5 empty, 2 mark. 5 empty, 1 mark. 5 empty, 2 mark, all the way around inside and outside loom. We are doing a stockinette cast on. So go up between your 2 marked pegs. That's peg 52 and peg 1. This is where your scrap yarn comes in play. You want it. There we go. I'm going to pull these strings down through here just to get them out of the way. And tie a little knot here. This first round is just separated out to finish the edge off when we're done. When it's finished off, this is what it will look like. It'll be a nice smooth edge. Round 2 of your cast on, you're following that exact same stitch you just did. Back at the beginning, working yarn's coming from this peg right here. I'm going to knit that over first to lock that in. Go around and knit over every peg inside and outside loom. Your cast on is done. Do 2 rounds of stockinette stitch and come back. This pattern is a 5 round repeat. You will do 1 round where we move stitches, I'll show you that in just a moment, and then 4 rounds of stockinette stitch. The marked pegs, the stitches on those will never be moved for the entire project. But to get that scallop shape, we got to start moving some of these. Oh, this is peg 1. Take the stitch from peg 2, place on peg 1, peg 3 to peg 2. See, we are just filling in that hole all the way down. This stitch does not move, so it stays there. All right, here's our next set of double. We're going to start here, move it towards those middle ones, fill in. The 2 pegs beside each other marked will have 2 stitches on them. Your single marked pegs will have 1 stitch, but the ones on both sides will be empty. I don't want holes in the hat, so I'm going to fill those in. And what we do is you grab the stitch from the previous row. So we follow this back right here, that loop. Fill that in. Here, that loop. Fill that in. We're going to move the stitches on the inside loom the same as we just did for the outside. So towards the purple, away from the blue. You can pick up these stitches as you go if you want. I'll show you where this one is. That's the empty peg. I've already picked up this side. So that stitch is kind of under those, but that's the one you want. You pick it up. Make sure every peg has at least one stitch on it. These purple pegs beside each other marked will have 2 on each of those. The rest will all have 1. Push all those stitches down. Work 4 rounds of stockinette stitch, then do another chevron round. Before we bind off, we want to take some of the bulk out of the top here. So we're going to take all of the stitches on the inner loom, place them on the outside loom. Outside loom, every peg will have 2 stitches. Inside loom is empty. Knit over the bottom stitches over the top. Work 1 round of knit stitch. You can use a true knit stitch, the flat stitch, or the U stitch. I am doing the U stitch, which is around the front, around the back. You're making a U shape. This is it's a shortcut to do the true knit stitch. It's the exact same. We are decreasing every 4th peg. You'll take the stitch from peg 1, place it on peg 2, then you will count 1, 2, 3, peg 4, over 1, 1, 2, 3. Work 1 round of your knit stitch of choice. Working yarn behind the empty pegs, and the pegs that have 2 stitches, treat those as 1. We're doing 1 more round of decreases. This time, the 3 stitches, that middle one is moving over. So we'll say that's peg 1, peg 2, peg 3. So peg 2 goes to peg 3. If your tension's too tight, the stitches will be a little difficult to move. 1 more round of your knit stitch, and then we're taking this off the loom. Every other peg on that outside loom will have 1 stitch on it. Wrap the working yarn around the loom 2.5 times. We're using a flat top bind off. Take your working yarn, pull it up through your first peg that has a stitch on it. Pop it off. You're going to skip the second one. Go to the next. You're working every other stitch that is still on the loom. Back at the beginning, pick up the rest of the stitches left and take it off the loom. Tighten up the top. You've got 2 rounds here that are tightening up. So I keep my thumb down in. I get it tight. You'll see some of these stitches tightening up. Let's look at the inside. Yep, we don't have any big bubbles. You take the crochet hook down through this middle and pull that working yarn down through. I don't need it that long. But I got that down in there. I'll weave it through. Only thing left is to finish off this cast on edge, which we've got our tail here. We are starting on the side where our tail is, but right behind it. Here's the tail. And this strand is just holding out these stitches to make it easier to grab and work. So those first 2 stitches above that strand, pick up with your crochet hook, take that second loop through the first one, go on to the next. On my last one, pick this stitch up, pull it through, and then we just have this cast on tail here. Pull that through, and we're going to weave that in. Now you can take and pull this strand, your placeholder yarn, you can take and pull that out. See, this hat is super stretchy. You got the cute tiny, it's like a, I think I would call that more of a scallop. It's just real subtle. You can make the hat longer to where you can flip that up if you'd like. For a neck warmer, work up the project as long as you would like. And we're going to take all the stitches from this inside loom, place them on the outside loom. Go right across. For the bind off, I'm going to use a basic bind off. Make sure your tension is pretty loose. I would use a super stretchy bind off, but I want the cast on edge and the bind off to look the same. See, this is another one I did. The link for this is in the video description. But that was my cast on edge. Now if I do a super stretchy bind off, this is the bind off. Now you can go and kind of pull the stitches to get them out of that bind off there. but it doesn't really look the same. I used it on this because it has more of a stretch than your basic bind off. I'm leaving both stitches on the loom and working them as one for the basic bind off. You can take that bottom loop over the top, and what that will do is you'll have be like little tiny holes all along that cast off or that bind off. It looks fine, it just doesn't match with the cast on. Step 1, E-wrap your first 2 pegs. There's peg 1 and peg 2. Knit over the bottom over the top. Right now that peg has 2 stitches, take that over. That peg has 2 stitches, take that over. Working yarn is coming from peg 2. We're going to take that, move it back 1 and knit over. That's step 2. Step 3, we just fill this hole in. And do be cautious of your tension. Step 1 again. E-wrap 2 pegs. Your first one now only has 1 stitch, and that is fine. And knit those over. Step 2. Stitch from peg 2 over to peg 1. Knit over. Step 3. Fill in the hole. Here we go. Here is our cast on edge, and here is our bind off edge, which I did it super loose, so it has a lot of stretch to it, which of course when I stretch it out takes that line away. Now if you want the shape at the bottom to be more pronounced, after your last round of stitch moving, just do 1 round of stockinette after that and then bind off. I still have an end to weave in, but for the hat and matching neck warmer, I didn't even use a whole skein of the yarn. Actually, it was a cake. I didn't even use the entire cake of yarn. I've wound it. This is what I have left. So you can make the hat longer, and you can make the neck warmer longer if you would like. If you make the hat longer, what's really cute is if you do it long enough where you can flip that up, and then you have your little scallops, chevron, whatever you want to call it, up there. That's all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Questions, comments, leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you are emailed whenever I have a new video coming out. Thank you again, and you guys have a wonderful day.